Yeah, just another one of those pig transplant films, run-of-the-mill pig transplant films, you know.
Yeah, woohoo! Hi guys, this is Second Perspective. My name's Paul Weston. Over there's Tom McLaughlin, and we're going to be doing for you guys a review, a QQ on Upstream Color. Torin, take it away. Give us a quick synopsis on this strange film.
Yeah, I thought you said obscene color for a second, and
Yeah.
well, it's not totally off base. I think, anyway. Upstream color, 96 minutes, very important aspect of this film. It's only an hour and a half. It's very avant-garde and sometimes tough to deal with. As much as I can say about the film's plot, there is a man and a woman. There's hypnosis, biologically motivated hypnosis, or like carried out hypnosis. There's this weird other character, and there's another couple of weird characters, and there are sort of weird relationships, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Very avant-garde, you guys. Oh, it's written and directed and stars Shane Carruth, and I think he's also one of the producers. Obviously, he probably had to put his own money into this.
Yeah. As you guys can see, Torin is not a huge fan of the film. And like that, like we'll just get kind of straight to it. Like it is a very obscure avant-garde film, and part of the reason why it's having a hard time sort of putting it all together is because the film kind of seems like sort of it goes from point A to point B, but it doesn't really sort of have a connectivity that we'd hope for, even in an avant-garde film. The way that it's shot and edited, for me, has this kind of a neat vibe that it's almost like a 90-minute music video. There's only like one real natural break at like around a 75-minute mark or something like that. And whereas like most films have, 5-minute scene, whatever, and then cut, then it has a nice establishing shot or whatever. You can have a moment to breathe, whereas this sort of seems just kind of like one consistent hum. I think after a while it starts to grate on you a little bit. However, there are some, like, the few highs that this film has, there are quite high. For me, one of the really cool things that it does is for editing, it kind of messes with the continuity of time. And like one example of it is like two characters, the two main ones, have this largely cohesive conversation, and it's cut between three different locations, but he'll say one line over here, then I'll cut to a completely different unexplained location over here, and then I'll do the same thing over to this location, and then it'll just kind of bounce all the way back and forth, but these locations aren't given like a reasoning, they're wearing different clothes, and yet it seems all like a conversation that's supposed to be happening right now. So
Right. Yeah.
it's interesting. And the moments when it works, it does, but
Well, there's a certain strange realism to that. Like and especially in the context of a romantic relationship, you sort of like carry on thoughts over the course of many months in different scenarios. But yeah, I thought one of the things that I really liked about this film is the way that the sound design worked. For about the first 30 minutes, you don't notice it that much. It's pretty good. But at about the 30-minute mark, one of the characters actually, you see him performing tasks that create the sound. It's basically like he's doing the Foley for the film in live action. And after that point, it's like you pay attention to it all the more. And I think it calls attention to itself as form in a way that only film can do, that I found really sort of like gratifying and interesting. And I was listening to My World in an intense way after that. So that was probably my one high point about this.
For me, I actually quite enjoyed the first 30 minutes, like B plus to A minus level for me. I really enjoyed it, and part of it is that, like as Tony mentioned, was this sort of hypnosis aspect, and essentially one character hypnotizes another in a very kind of strange way, but ultimately it tapped into my fear of sort of not realizing I may not actually control my own life, which is a sort of interesting idea. But after 35 minutes, it's very hard for us to kind of justify the film. It's right about when the relationship starts that it just kind of gets strange. It becomes especially avant-garde in that capacity where it doesn't. But the problem is it doesn't even follow its own logic. And it's fine if a film kind of has its own experimental logic as long as it has some sort of consistency to its rules. But this one didn't really set any for us, and so like the only interesting parts of it is just the filmmaking, and you can only hold that for so long, and ultimately at the end, when the film has gone crazy for the last 45 minutes, it also tries to explain it in sort of a realistic way in the last 15 minutes, and it's like if you're gonna be an avant-garde film, you're gonna try these different forms and all that stuff, just go with it, because it feels, I don't know what it feels like, but it just, if you're trying to explain all the crazy that we had before in the film, you're just going to frustrate people because you can't link all these random moments that you have to have some sort of cohesive idea. So just find whatever's crazy, work with it, and just find the beauty in that, right? Like, embrace it.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I can just echo that quickly, before we give it a grade, I think it sort of draws out these different symbolic structures and different dialogic structures that it doesn't commit to fully, and then at the end it sort of picks one. And I don't think it was necessary to pick one, just to condense what you said a little bit.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, I basically take the same issue with it that you do there. I think we're agreed on that. Overall, probably a C+ film for me, even though I think the way that the sound design was managed was like A+. You know, very significant. I turned on my microwave and I was really hypersensitive about the sounds my microwave was making. That's cool when a film focuses you not just on what it's doing, but on how your life is proceeding as well. So
yeah,
anyway, what grade would you give it?
I'm gonna give it a C+. Like, if it was a little more sort of focused on what I wanted to do, I'd give it a B-, but it's not. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a C+. And yeah, what I was gonna say is that if you want to see something of this nature, but probably a little more refined in its art, watch something from Terrence Malick. It's just, this is the poor man's version of Terrence Malick, but just a little bit stranger, and sort of less sure in what it's doing, I think. Other than that,
that's a punchy way to say it. Poor man's Terrence Malick.
Yeah. And there's plenty of Terrence Malick, so go watch him instead. Other than that, this is Second Perspective. My name is Cole Weston. Over there's Terrence McLaughlin.
That's my dad.
Torin McLaughlin. And yeah, other than that, we're going to talk about this more in the discussion. So follow us there. Goodbye, Internet.